Hi everyone, my name is Laurel of Mount Laurel Stitches, and this is a YouTube channel about cross stitch. I'm not going to follow the normal format that I follow on this video. Probably not going to be super cheerful all the time on this video, and I've actually debated a lot about what to say about my own personal life a lot on these videos. People want to come to YouTube, especially Flosstube, and watch things that are fun and cheerful and happy and like, look at all these goodies that we do and all these fun things we have to share together, and I want to be a part of that. And sometimes I don't make videos because I feel like I'm not in that headspace. So I'm probably going to be editing this one a lot. Been worrying about what I'm going to say, if I'm going to say something wrong or too much. And I'm just trying to be here to get back into things, to get back in this community. My mom passed away at the beginning of the summer after 3.5 years of having brain cancer. And that was a very complex and traumatic couple of years for the whole family. I don't want to go too much into it on such a public space, and I even debated saying anything because people can pick things apart very easily, and a lot of people mean well, but a lot of people don't think before they speak. I feel like it's important though to talk about my mom and I'm not gonna cry. Okay. Her contribution to my life, especially her influence on me creating and crafting. My mom was very creative. She was a prolific quilter. She also did cross stitch for a while and was the one to introduce me back when I was just getting out of college. I remember my mom cross stitching on the couch, and I think in other videos I've talked about how she has different things that she's cross stitched over the years. But she was the one who taught me how to cross stitch. We made a quilt together. She tried to teach me how to sew. It didn't really stick that much for me, but I think I would be wrong to not talk about her in this community, because I know if she was able, she probably would have been a part, maybe not of cross stitch, but definitely quilting, and maybe even asking me to help her make videos. I want to say more about it, but I don't know exactly what to say. Brain cancer takes you in pieces. But no matter what, my mom always loved to watch these videos, and I think she would watch them like 2 or 3 times in a row and would put them on the TV and just look at all the different things I was making, especially because we were long distance. I live in Virginia, they live far in the South, and this was just something that always brought her joy. So I want to keep doing it. I know she would like that. So I'm gonna try. One of the things that she loved to do was make quilts before everything happened, and I plan on showing, maybe as a separate video, all these different quilts that she has made, and just being able to show off her artistry and her creativity with it all and her hard work. I think there are cross-stitchers who are also quilters and just quilters in general who may appreciate that. And I think that would be a really good tribute to my mom. I'm going to switch things up and talk about a book that I read that kind of helped me process some of the grief and emotions that are with it. And it's the book called, I'll put it right here, Dancing at the Pity Party, a Dead Mom's Graphic Memoir. And this was a book that's actually geared towards young adults. It's about Tyler Feder, the author, her account of being a teenager and losing her mom very quickly to cancer. I found out about the book several years ago after my mom's diagnosis, and I just remember keeping it in the back of my mind like, oh, you know, that's a good resource, but maybe you'll never have to read it one day. And I kept putting it off reading it until everything had passed. And when it happened, I picked it up immediately, and I just found it really comforting. She talks a little bit about how quickly things happen, about the cancer spreading to different parts of the body, specifically the brain, the grief afterwards, how weird it is, how you're trying to figure out your way through it. Tyler also has a lot of good points about things people say when you've lost someone, and how there are a lot of good intentions involved, but some of them just don't quite hit. And she even has this like bingo card, I'll put the bingo card here, of things that people will say, trying to help, maybe not trying to help. It's hard to tell. And it's hard to talk to somebody who has had a loss. It's uncomfortable and awkward. And I think there are universal ways that are good ways to handle it and universal ways that are not good ways to handle it. So if you have the time, I'll talk a little bit about how I have felt people have been helpful and I have felt people have not been helpful, to put it extremely kindly. When someone has dealt with a loss, don't compare yourself to them. Just kind of validate their experience. Say, that sounds really hard. That sounds like a very traumatic time. You must be struggling with that. That sounds really difficult. Don't say things like, well, at least you had this, or they're in a better place now. Not everyone believes the same things that you believe. I think just being able to sit with the person and being a safe space for them and saying, I'm here. Do you want to talk, or do you want to be distracted? And let that person kind of choose how they want to handle it in that moment. I've definitely had people say things to me meaning well that just, you kind of have to nod your head through, but when someone's grieving, at least my reaction is to try to help somebody else deal with my uncomfortableness. Like when it comes up, I try to be like, oh, well, it's okay because she's not suffering now and stuff. And, you know, part of that is true, but part of that, I don't want to like help somebody else go through the uncomfortableness of it. Someone said to me, this is something that happens, I don't know why. I've had multiple people say after they found out, well, were you close? And I don't know why that is that people ask that question. It's almost like they're trying to figure out how sad they should be for you. Were you close to your mom? It's like, and what defines closeness? So that's just like a weird thing to say. Don't ask people, were you close? Nobody asks a spouse, were you close to your spouse? That's just odd. Another thing someone said to me was like, I hope you get over it soon. It's like, what? And you kind of have to laugh and try to get yourself out of those situations. So those are just my, I guess, bits of advice. Take it as you will. It's hard. It's hard to talk to people who have gone through a hard time. Give people space. And if you don't feel like you are a safe space, if you don't feel like you have the emotional capacity to handle that right now, that's fine. Protect yourself too. But don't engage with somebody who is in that vulnerable state, who's trying to heal and may have difficulty setting boundaries and may have difficulty trying to figure out how to protect themselves. Yeah, I think that's what I want to say about that. One last thing I did want to mention about that book, Dancing at the Pity Party. I ended up looking up the author and finding her Instagram account and then finding her Etsy page. And about 3 to 4 times a year, she offers something called 1-minute doodles, where if you happen to be in the right place at the right time, you can buy a 1-minute doodle from her and she will draw something for 1 minute and send it to you. So I happened to just be able to get one of these 1-minute doodles, and I bought it and wrote her and said, hey, I read your book. I thought it was really important and it did help me process some of the emotions that come with the loss of a loved one. And thank you for writing it. If it's not too weird, I bought one of your doodles. Could you draw my mom cross-stitching? So here's the picture of my mom cross-stitching many, many years ago. She's cross-stitching a Dimensions stamped cross-stitch, I think. It's of a carousel horse, and she was doing it for me. And she's like, oh, look at this horse I'm going to make for you in your bedroom. And I told her I hate it. So I'm pretty sure you just throw it away after that. But that was originally for me. Could I still cross-stitch this? It's available, yes. Do I still like it? No, I don't like it still. It's not something I like. But anyways, Tyler Feder wrote me back and said a very sweet note about, how honored she was to draw my mom. So here is the result of the 1-minute portrait of my mom cross-stitching. I plan on putting it in my office and, just having like a memento of her doing something that she liked and in a place where I'm doing something that I like. So I thought that was like a really special touch, and reach out to people. You never know what could happen. Worst case, people just reject you, but you just walk outside and get rejected from just different stuff. So anyways, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Just like a weird stream of consciousness today. My husband would say that I'm a little snarky. My mom would say that I'm sassy. Gen Z calls it spicy. So I guess I'm like mildly spicy right now. And this is going to be a ride of strangeness, I'm sure. I have finished a lot of stuff since the last time that I posted. That was one of my goals for this year, was just finish some of the things, fully finish them. And I went and got a bunch of hoops and tried my best to frame things. So we're just gonna go into the finishes right now. This is by Liz Matthews, Berry Patch on 32 count cream and sugar. I framed this. I cannot get it straight. I tugged on it, all sorts of stuff. Doesn't matter. I don't know. It's hot glued in there. I'm committed to it now. It looks fine enough. Just don't look at it too close. It's just for me. But there it is. It's in a frame. Let's call it a day. The next one is Autumn Alphabet by Willow Hill or Willow House samplings. I always write it down wrong. This is the controversial piece where the call for DMCs do not match what the actual, when you start stitching it, it doesn't match the picture. Choose your own adventure on these DMCs. I ended up choosing a lot of different choices. I framed this after I finished it. This is on a fabric that I dyed myself last summer, and I made some changes to this. I wonder if I even have notes about what I changed this to. So I ended up writing, I don't like alphabets, so I wrote Stay Spooky. You can see that. It basically just like blurs in there. And then I wrote the word boo and caw, hiss, and I put 2 bats in and a bunch of little stars. This one probably doesn't look straight either. I got this frame at Joanns. I think I got the other frame at Joanns too. What do you do with the glass when you take out the glass? Like, do you throw it away? Do you keep it? Do you just leave the glass in? Okay, the leaf blower has left. So I don't know what to do with the glass part. I did find my notes for what I changed different colors to, and they were, okay, this is Willow Hill samplings. On the pumpkins ended up being Classic Colorworks Tea and Biscuits is the top one, and then Rain Shower by Classic Colorworks. And the big pumpkin, I went with Tropical Ocean by Gentle Arts. And then the words, the letters, I did like an alternating letter for each one. And I actually based the alphabet off of, or the lettering off of the alphabet from the chart, and maybe changed a couple of things. So I don't know which one's which right now. One of them is Muddy Puddle by Classic Colorworks, and one of them is River Rocks. I don't know which is which, but that's what the lettering is. And then these bats are actually from Lila's Studio. I took the bats from that chart and put a couple in. I wanted to make another black cat like poking around here, but I did not feel that I had the artistic ability during that moment. Some other finishes. This is Bent Creek Quaker Ghost that I did. I think this is Gothic by Picture This Plus. I'm not sure they count. For some reason I want to say 32, but I don't know if I have notes on that. It's a pretty color. I like it. And then what I ended up doing, I sewed in the back with like glitter felt. This is the first time I've actually finished the back of a hoop, so it was a learning experience, but it's a little bit mystical looking. And then I don't recommend doing this at all, but I found some ribbon and then like glued it with tacky glue and wrapped the ribbon around it. And at the time, like I made it halfway here and thought, you know, this is probably going to add like some space in putting the cross stitch in. Like this is gonna, it probably won't be too much. Like if I wrap it tight, there will not be a problem putting the cross stitch into the hoop with the ribbon attached. And you can see how close this ended up being. So I don't really recommend going this route. Maybe you can do it better than me. I'm sure that's more than possible, but we got there, but it was touch and go. This is just fun. I like spooky stuff. And then more Bent Creek, more hoops. What is this called? A cat, a bat, a witch's hat? I will fix it by putting it down here. These were just some that I had sitting around for a really long time. I didn't know what to do with them. So again, Joanns to the rescue. They have these kind of square round hoops. This might be an 8-inch one. This time I found fabric and I cut the fabric into like strips, glued it, folded the fabric in on itself. The strip was not long enough because I think I might have gotten a fat quarter, so I had to do 2 strips here. It's fine, you can't tell. But one thing I will say about this fabric, this is a kit, so whatever fabric used to come in the kits, it's like 18 count linen of some sort. Finishing the back of that, like pulling the thread through, you're like almost going to rip all of this off. So that's a little unfortunate, but again, who's gonna look at the back? It's fine, just for you. And more Bent Creek. I don't know what this one's called either. I'm so prepared for today. Same thing, found some fabric. This is from Joanns. It's like a leaf design. Hoops from Joanns. I think it looks pretty good. Pretty good matching going on there. Let's take a screenshot for it. And again, had kind of a situation with the back. Oh, I glued this one down. It's okay. If you make a mistake, you can make another one. I think this is my last finish. This is an embroidery kit from Etsy. It's an Israeli designer. I actually don't know if that's true. I think it is though. I'll put it down here. And I love this picture. I love her expression. She cannot be bothered. I'm here for it. This is, again, just found some fabric. I think this is a 7-inch hoop. 7-inch hoops are hard to find. I could only find one, even though Joann says we have it in stock. You didn't. So I only have one finished right now. I would love to put them up in here, like off to the side. I think they're just beautiful. And that's my back, guys. It's okay. Like I didn't even have enough fabric here. Maybe I was supposed to push her down further, but remember, it's yours. Do what you want. And then I have one more finish that I have to go find. Okay, found my last piece that I finished. It was from the Just Cross Stitch magazine, February 2022. It is Winter Serenity by Stitchy Fish Designs. And this is one I saw on Instagram. They like filmed a video about it or something. I thought this looks so beautiful. So here is my version of it. This is on 28 count. Picture this plus linen in Havisham. Someone told me it was from, the name of it's from a Charles Dickens book. I only read Tale of Two Cities, so that's because I had to. So here it is. It's beautiful. All right, let's try again. I ended up making one switch to this. I changed the white. I think it called for B5200, and I changed it to Snowflake by forgot what. I didn't write it down. Someone makes Snowflake as a thread. I will try to figure out who it is and put it here. But you can tell just ever so slightly. This is got some pink and blues to it. I was a little worried it would be kind of nursery looking, but you know, when you go out in the snow, whenever you get snow, if you get snow, it doesn't just look white. It has all these different shades to it. So I wanted it to look like that. And this is a really beautiful piece of linen. I don't know if you can tell, but it's got some spots to it. I am not someone who knows how to like be spatially aware when they're cross stitching, so I always just overestimate how much cross stitch space I need, and I just put it wherever. So probably is wasting fabric, but in the end, is it better to waste a little bit and make sure your cross stitch works, or are you someone who plays fabric chicken? Because I don't, but good for you if you can do it. I made 2 purchases this month. One of them was a book I found at Barnes & Noble, and this is Tusk and Cardinal's Creepy Cross Stitch. I know a lot of people have this book already. I was excited. I want to do so many. I like this one. I don't even know what this is called. Creature Feature? Maybe? But I'm going to make the cats black. And I'm not going to do it on black, because then we wouldn't see them. And then also, I like spooky rooms. Is that what it's called? Maybe it's not called spooky rooms. I'm confused now. Oh, Mid-Century Haunted. This is the one with 2 black cats and the ghost. I don't think the other one was called that. It's called something else. Oh, Doom and Gloom Pattern. Okay. The first one was called Doom and Gloom. But I like all things spooky. I don't know what's going to make it into this video. The other thing that I bought was a PDF cross stitch of a horse. I could not locate the paper copy, so I'll put the image of it here. I think this has a lot of tense stitches to it. I have not kitted it up. I really haven't been cross stitching much because I've been trying to learn to sew. One of the things my mom gave me before she passed was her sewing machine, and it's right here. It's a very nice sewing machine. I didn't know anything about sewing. I've sewed like 2 or 3 things before, and they were all under her guidance. So when she gave me a lot of her sewing and quilting stuff, one of the things that she gave me was a quilt that we had been trying to make for the last 10 years. And I'll put a picture of what it's supposed to look like. The quilt is cut, and part of it is sewn together. And I have the book and the pieces. I did not trust myself to just jump into quilting, because even though I have made a quilt with her 10 plus years ago, I just felt like I really don't know what I'm doing, and I don't want to mess this up, and it's just very special. So I need to learn how to just do the basics before I jump into quilting. I know with quilting there's a lot of angles, there's a lot of like matching up pieces to make those really crisp corners, and I am not the most precise person, so I needed to like start at the very, 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 very beginning with learning to sew. And I looked up different sewing classes and courses in the area, and they got back to me and said, oh, the earliest we could do is like 2 or 3 months from now. And I thought, okay, that's far. I want to learn now when I have the time. So I just thought, okay, I'm going to fumble my way through it. Somehow I ended up on Joanns, because I thought Joanns used to have in-person classes. I still cannot figure out if that's true or not. But they have some sort of deal with Creative Bug where you can get 2 months free of these tutorial videos online about pretty much anything. I guess it's like sewing, maybe cross stitch, maybe embroidery, Cricut, a lot of Cricut stuff on there. So I just said, okay, well, I'll just go to this, cost me nothing right now. I'm going to figure out my machine and I'm going to make something with it. So the first thing that I found to make was just like this bag, a bucket bag or something. I'll show a picture of what it's supposed to look like. And this is what mine looked like when I was done. Here it is. What do you put in here? I don't know. Its cats are cute. This is my first attempt. And while I was sewing, I thought, I know whatever I'm going to make is going to be terrible. I need to make peace with the first time I make something, it will not be perfect. It will not look good. It will be awful, and that's okay. And I'm just going to get through the first one and learn from it and get to the second one. And I think there are a lot of times in life that we forget that failure is a part of the process, that you're going to mess up. It's not going to work. And to just think about it as this is step 1 to get to step 10, which is the more perfect item. And with teaching, I would tell students and stuff like, yeah, you gotta make a draft of things, you gotta get all the edits, and it's not gonna be perfect on the first try. And then as an adult, I discarded all of that advice. It was just, if it's not perfect, why should I attempt it? If I'm not good at it, why should I bother? So with sewing, I thought I really want to learn. I really want to do well, however that looks to me. And I know to do well, I have to make some really ugly things. So it's kind of freeing to think about it that way, of just, it's not going to work out the first time. So this is the first time. And then this is the second time. There's been improvement. There's pom-poms on it now. The colors are matching. I also learned that not all interfacing is made the same. So from there, after I felt somewhat successful with that, I started trying to figure out, okay, well, I've made this. It looked halfway decent. What else can I make? And I went on, found Elizabeth Ann Stitch's project bag tutorial, and again told myself it's not going to be perfect on the first try. You learn from these bags, you kind of have some concepts with it. I mean, the bobbin went the right spot and was not making those terrible knots at the end. These are moments and milestones of success, especially to a beginner. So I found her tutorial and it worked. On the first try, I couldn't even believe it. I ended up making this little spooky project bag, the zipper, just like she did. So this was the first one. And then the second one. And then the third one. And then it just kept going from there. This one's my favorite, I'll have to say. Look how metallic pumpkins. And then inside, metallic leaves. These are far from perfect. I don't think I would sell these, but I would gift them to people, and they're functional and they work, and I'm proud of them, and I'm proud of myself for challenging myself to learn new things and not quitting. Because when I got to that first bag halfway through, I thought, maybe I just can't do this. Maybe this isn't for me. I don't have the ability. And that sounds really silly, but I don't know if it's like this for you. There's so many times where I psych myself out of doing stuff because I think I won't be great. But you don't have to be great at everything you do. You don't have to be good at everything you do. If you like it and you can enjoy it, maybe you'll get good, maybe you won't get good. It's fine. So there's some other tutorials that I found to make little ones that have top zips. You can hide your like pencil and scissors in them. So I will link that below. And then I also made for a friend a needle, find it, a needle book. Here it is. It's so cute, spooky, and it has little tie ribbon. It has a pocket. You can put scissors or some bobbins in here. Put your needles in these felt things, and then close it up and be on your way. So you know where everything is. I'll link that below too. Oh, the other thing I made as well, just making stuff, was this cover for the sewing machine. Sometimes sewing machines come with a big plastic cover that you put on, and that's fine and stuff, but I just wanted something that I can easily take on and take off. So I made this. This was a thing. And you just, it has a lining, you put it on, and there's a pocket for your petal or whatever you want to put in there. And it looks fairly nice. Like, stitching an arc was difficult, but that's what your seam ripper's for. You're going to have to seam rip it, and don't seam rip and sew on the same day, because that's going to, I mean, maybe you can if you have patience like a saint, but I did not. So those are just some fun things I'm making. I don't know if anyone's interested in sewing adventures. There's so many fun fabrics with sewing, as you can tell. I did all the spooky things. If anyone has like good beginner tutorials, please feel free to send them my way. I'd like to keep kind of challenging myself to add different elements to, I'd like to make a coat, but the patterns are intimidating to me at the moment, so we'll see what happens there. So yeah, this was a weird video today. Even now I'm like looking at some of the things I've filmed and thought, maybe I said it wrong, or maybe I don't look sad enough during certain parts. Maybe I'm laughing again too quickly, or just analyzing myself and how I'm going to be viewed to the world. And I don't even know why that matters. Like, I don't want that to matter anymore. I just want to let go of things that don't serve me. And there's this song, it's not work appropriate, so don't listen to this at work. But if you are someone who like kind of struggles with setting boundaries and trying to maybe not be nice anymore, and I don't mean that in like you have to be mean, but not being a people pleaser and trying to go out of your way to make other people feel comfortable at the expense of yourself repeatedly, to the point where you might even lose yourself in it and not know who you are anymore, and start to have those moments of like guilt and shame and uncomfortableness that comes with people pleasing. There's a song by, I want to say her name's Caitlin Trevor. It's called Nicer, and I will link it below. Again, don't listen to this at work, or if your kids are nearby, because there are some, I mean, there's like a little bit of profanity, but it's not too bad. And so I looked at the lyrics, and one of the lyrics goes, I'd let someone rob me and then I'd buy them a coffee. So if you feel like you identify with that, and again, this is like to the amount where people pleasing at the expense of yourself getting mistreated, that's a good song to listen to, because it can make you tired from all that energy spent. And I'm not saying like don't be nice people, definitely be nice people. Just don't lose yourself in all of that. So yeah, this was a really strange video. I don't know what's going to make it in or not. One other good song by this person is What Makes a Life Good. That is a really emotional song, especially if you're, grieving. You want to have a good cry afterwards. I will put that one down below too. So yeah, I don't even know how to end this video actually. I would say, like, if you want to share what cross stitch you're working on, go for it. If you want to share how you have handled grief, like a tip or a piece of advice for like things that work or things that work for you. Remember, your experience is different from everyone else's. Everyone else's experience is different from you. That's fine. If you want to share something that worked for your own experience, you definitely don't have to. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. Just rambling. Feel free to do that, but hope you don't have any knots in your cross stitch and that you aren't afraid to fail at something new. Until next time, bye.